fast lane to getting into consciousness.
Right, there's a Wild West out there too. Yeah.
Well, there's danger. I mean, you can't get this and all that. So you have to, you get crazy. And what you need to do is, you start with the unfortunate psychic self-defense. Colin Wilson will give you an overview of the way the world has gone in the occult, the occluded, and slowly is worth reading. The other books I really like the series Man, Myth, and Magic. I think that has perhaps been the single finest dictionary of collective pictures and thoughts of our current age, probably most profound. Man, Myth, and Magic by Richard Cavendish.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you about another book. I have this old book called True and Faithful Relations, John Dee and right, Edward Kelly. Could you talk a little bit about those guys?
Sure. The Action with Spirits. I had a first edition of one of those.
Damn.
I sold. Yeah. It was in French, and it is basically the first formations after the Book of Enoch, because that's where it came from, was the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, tell people about the Book of Enoch and why it was important.
Well, Raziel, the archangel, gave Enoch the names of all the fallen angels, all the 72. That's where the Lemegeton came from, the so-called Galisha or Lesser Keys of Solomon. That if you had the demon's name, there were 72 fallen angels. If you had the demon's name, which is a geometric thing, you had control of the demon. That's why in all your movies like The Exorcist, they're trying to, what's your name? You know, tell me what your name is.
Right.
Because once you have the name, what is the name? What's a word? It's sound. And isn't that interesting? And really, it is a container, like a glass is to water.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
That's what a name is. It containerizes the thought to a point where it's now useful as to do work.
Yeah, because you can sort of collapse that entire person into one word.
Well, if you can. That was the whole idea. But realize, of course, according to Carl Jung, you were either possessed or complex. You either had one guy working through you or had a couple of guys working through you. If you had one guy, you were possessed. And if you had two or more guys, then of course you were complex. No way out.
Now, again, a lot of people will say, well, what do you mean I've got gods or angels or things working through me?
Well, gods would be a value system. Mm-hmm. You know, like infinity would be a god, or incredible strength, or it would be those things you can't quite name that are beyond naming, like huge, strong, mighty, almighty, more than almighty, God almighty. Well, what does that mean? I mean, because in the old Bibles, they talked about a hierarchy of gods. There was, of course, you know, Yahweh, and then its boss, God Vahet, and then, of course, there were the veiled devices, which were Ein Sof, Ur, which were above God or Keter. And so the old Bibles used to refer to a hierarchy. And that always suited my case because it was Bob Dylan that sang, you know, everybody's got to serve somebody.
Right, it was the old boss, yeah.
There you go.
Wow. All right, so John Dee and Edward Kelly.
John Dee was part of the Elizabethan court where he could talk to angels, and the language that was used was called Enochian, which is kind of like Hebrew. I can give you some Enochian so you can hear the sound. Now that's Enochian. And those were what Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix sang about the watchtowers. There were the 4 watchtowers, or these angelic beings that surrounded man in the 4 corners, earth, air, fire, and water, you know, north, south, east, west, Gabriel, Raziel, you know, you had here. In the east is Gabriel, in the west is... Okay, and you had these watchtowers, and the way you communicated was by using John Dee's book, action was strict because it had the calls, the Enochian calls. And some of the strangest words, they're sounds that when said correctly, changed reality. God will do that. That's what music does to you.
Sure. I mean, people, even on the most superficial scale, they just start tapping the ball.
The fans too.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
And that's what you're doing with your shows. I mean,
well, yeah, we
magic.
Yeah, we do magic and words and music, and we're going to take a break and play a little more music. How about that?
That sounds good.
All right, you hang in there, and we'll come back and we get another hour, okay? All right, everybody, it's Mike. This is Radio Orbit on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. My guest is the wonderful Richard Allen Miller. You can find lots of information about Rick on the web at richardallenmiller.com. He has a number of other websites, dogcancer.ca, alohamedicinals.ca, and of course NW Botanicals, which is an amazing site in and of itself. So lots of stuff out there that Rick is involved in and doing, and take some time and take a look.